Hey everyone, for today's video I'll be talking about the new All-Stars hero banner, and much to my surprise they decided to include Jay in it, which in my opinion is a pretty scummy move. They know he's a unit that everyone's aiming for, and putting him somewhere he can't be guaranteed, besides for whales, leaves a pretty bad taste in my mouth to be honest, because I'm sure there's a lot of players that wanted to pity him, but ripping him from his own event and banner to put him somewhere to make whales spend more is a bad move for the normal player. And who knows when they'll decide to eventually drop his own banner and story in that case, as we didn't see a banner for Joker Celia or Cosmo for the longest time. But to go over his kit, he's a water human and his slots are 6-star physical, 5-star heal, and 4-star physical or support. They're pretty okay slots. The heal slot is kind of out of place, but he's certainly usable for revives or cleanses, or to hold an ultra relic. The 6-star physical is okay, although the LB7 support slot is pretty good if he's holding something like Ilya's clothing. For his skill, it reduces the enemy's evasion rate by 10% for 7 seconds with a 10-second CT. It's okay, I guess. It's not really game breaking, even in high evasion stages. I feel like anything would have been better here. For his arts, it does 20,000 water damage physical, and all water allies get 50% damage for 20 seconds, and if used within the first 2 minutes of the quest, all allies get 20 arts. This is really only good for the arts for the team, but even then, this shouldn't really see too much use besides right at the start to get going. But even then, I'd rather get him into his stacks from his super art right away. The water damage is okay as well, although with how much he's buffing from his super art, this is more of a hindrance to him if anything. For his true arts, it does 70,000 water damage physical, and for 30 seconds, reduces the enemy's damage resist by 40%, and when he's above 90% HP, it's 80% instead. It's a really nice debuff for sure. The HP requirement can be pretty steep at times, although if you can pop it off, mixing this with a super art is going to enable him to do a ton of damage. For his super art, it does 150,000 water damage physical, and for 60 seconds, increases his damage by 50% and arts by 2 a second, which is stackable, and within the first 2 minutes, it'll instead stack 100% damage and 4 arts a second. This is by far the craziest part of his kit. It speaks for itself mostly, but it's basically ReZero Rem if there were no downsides, and the fact that it lasts for a minute per stack means you're going to be able to get out an insane number of stacks before the 2-minute limit, from where half of his previous stacks are still there. Not like it matters anyways, since his damage stacking will have him wiping everything in around that time as well. We're definitely going to see some insane numbers from this, if anyone's able to pull him anyways. For his passives, he gets 80% paralysis resist, 10% AoE damage resist when leader, or 60% accuracy when not leader, and 200 arts at the start of battle. The 10% damage resist for the team is good since it lasts forever, which is really nice in any hard content because it's basically a free defense slot, and if needed, the accuracy paired with something like Karks will allow him to hit a lot of higher accuracy bosses. And while it doesn't necessarily say it, that 200 arts burst is per stage, so if there's multiple stages, he'll get 200 arts at the start of each, which in nuking harder stages is really good, similar to Gray. Or even if you need him to get his super art stacks off easier, in which case it'll cut the cost by 200 arts, making him stack a lot faster. For his true weapon, it's a 5-star physical, and for 10 seconds, it increases his own water damage by 50% and reduces enemies' physical resist by 30% with a 45-second CT. When used by Jay, he increases his own damage and break by 30%, as well as 5% physical resist up. The active effect is pretty nice, nothing crazy, but a nice little buff and debuff for sure. The passive damage is nice, as is the break power. I didn't mention it, but for a DPS, he has a surprisingly high break stat, his super art having a 4,000 break stat, which for a DPS is pretty good. And as a unit that can spam his super art, it'll be doing some good amounts of break, especially paired with a unit like Chloe and break equips. It's a pretty nice true weapon though overall, and I'd pick it up for him, although it's not really needed. It's just there to make him reach his full potential damage and break wise. But overall, Jay is a really good unit. He's pretty much everything you could ask for from a DPS. He has stacking damage, he has art gen, debuffs, passive arts per battle to clear harder stages easier, and more. Everything that you could need in a DPS is all in Jay. A lot of people say DPS units are the easiest to be outdone, but in Jay's case, the passive art gen and damage stacking makes him a unit that'll pretty much stay in the meta forever. He's meant to clear whatever mission in as short of a time as possible, which he does really well. And in that case, we're definitely going to be seeing him at the top of a lot of leaderboards. He's self-sufficient damage-wise as well, meaning you can focus other parts of your team more towards survivability, or even more damage, which is nice for sure. And in all, he's been my most sought after unit besides Star God Lisa, but the fact they're making him exclusive to this banner so far, which doesn't have a pity, is horrible. But as for whether or not you should summon, we all know Star God Lisa is coming soon. I wouldn't doubt either weeks before or after Slime ends. But at the same time, with there being 6 total summons that are guaranteed, that's 300 crystals spent over the course of like 2-ish weeks. But at the same time, time, the banner looks to have every 6-star in it, which by itself makes it a must summon, especially with War God Fen. But for anyone looking for a 6-star they missed, or even some of the better 5-stars, this is the perfect chance for him. I wouldn't doubt that for Anniversary we're going to be getting a lot more crystals, so that 300 crystal dip will definitely flatten out, and if you're above 1500 crystals, it'll be a lot easier for you as well. But if you're looking at something closer to 1000 crystals, I'd maybe hold off. Although on the other hand, if you are a newer player, this is an insanely good chance at getting a lot of the better meta units. So if you don't have any of the newer units or a lot of units and are new, I'd definitely do this regardless of whether or not you're saving for Sargaliza, as we'll know she'll eventually come back anyways. But that's about it for the video. Let me know what your thoughts are about Jay and the banner down below. Additionally, let me know if you're going to be going for Jay or not. I have quite a bit of free crystals saved, so I'll definitely do all the guaranteed pulls. Although non-collab 6-stars wise, I have everyone besides like 2 of them, so it doesn't have the most value for me. But for a chance at Jay, I'll do it, to be honest. And an LB6 for one of my 6-stars never really hurt either. Thanks to everyone for watching the video, like and sub if you want to see more, and I'll see you later.